The cafe fell silent when the billionaire laughed, a booming, cruel laugh that made even the coffee machine pause mid-hiss. He pointed at the napkin in front of him, where the young waitress had scribbled a few words in Mandarin. "Translate this," he mocked, his grin full of arrogance. "And maybe I'll make you a director in my company." The other customers chuckled awkwardly. But the waitress, a small woman with calm eyes and trembling hands, didn't laugh. She looked him straight in the eye and said, quietly, "You should be careful what you promise, Mr. Weston. Some translations change lives." That one line froze him, and everyone in that cafe, in silence. Pause, cinematic zoom. Before we go deeper into this unbelievable real-life story of pride, pain, and poetic justice, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Kindness Chronicles, where true stories remind us what humanity still means. Now, let's go back to where it all began. Scene 1, the cafe on Maple Street. It was a cloudy morning in San Francisco, the kind that painted the streets silver. The Maple Street Cafe was small, with soft jazz music playing and the smell of cinnamon rolls in the air. Clara Bennett, 26, worked there 6 days a week. She was quiet, kind, and often invisible to the rich businesspeople who came in for their lattes and quick meetings. But today was different. Today, Ethan Weston walked in, the millionaire owner of Weston Global Films, a man whose name appeared in Forbes every other month. His sunglasses alone cost more than Clara made in a year. He sat at table 7, ordering a black coffee and talking loudly on his phone. His voice filled the cafe. "If she can't translate, she's out. I need someone who understands power, not just words." Clara overheard it, and something about those words stung. Because once, years ago, she had understood both words and power. Before everything fell apart. Scene 2, the forgotten past. Clara wasn't just a waitress. She had once been a linguistics major at Stanford, fluent in Mandarin, Japanese, and French. Her dream had been to become a film translator, bringing powerful stories from one culture to another. But after her mother's death and her father's stroke, her scholarship collapsed under unpaid bills. She dropped out, worked odd jobs, and ended up here, serving coffee to people who'd never guess what she'd sacrificed. Still, she smiled. Every single day. Because kindness was her rebellion against a cruel world. That morning, as she handed Ethan Weston his coffee, she noticed the screenplay draft lying beside his laptop. The cover page read, "The Bridge of Words, by Ethan Weston." She couldn't help but glance at the open page, and froze. Half of it was written in Chinese, badly translated Chinese. Before she could stop herself, she whispered, "That doesn't mean what you think it means." Scene 3, the challenge. Ethan looked up sharply. "Excuse me?" Clara blushed. "The Mandarin line, the one on page 2. It's not saying, crossing destiny, it says, crossing death. You might want to fix that." The entire cafe went quiet. The other waiters glanced over, sensing tension. Ethan leaned back, smirking. "Oh really? And who exactly are you to correct me?" Clara's voice was soft, but steady. "Someone who can read it." The laughter that followed was humiliating. Ethan's assistant, a sharp-dressed woman named Tiffany, chuckled too. Ethan tapped the table with his pen. "All right, Miss Translator. Tell you what, translate this." He scribbled something fast on a napkin in Mandarin, something long and complex, and slid it toward her. "If you can translate that perfectly," he said, loud enough for the cafe to hear, "I'll make you a director at Weston Films." The crowd gasped. Clara stared at the napkin. Her hands shook. She hadn't read or written Mandarin in years. But then, something inside her woke up, the part that used to dream. She took a deep breath and began reading. Scene 4, the translation that stopped the room. Her eyes traced the elegant strokes of each character. Then, slowly, she began to speak. "The one who mocks another's tongue," she read, "will one day beg for words to save his own name." The cafe went silent. Ethan blinked. What did you just say?" Clara looked up. "That's what you wrote." But Ethan frowned. "No, that's not what it means." "Actually," she said gently, "it is, if you understand the tone marks. You used the wrong ones. That's the danger of pretending to know a language you don't." Her calm voice carried a quiet authority. The customers stared, whispering. Ethan's smirk faded. He grabbed the napkin, glaring at it, then back at her. Tiffany whispered, "Sir, she's right." Ethan's face turned red. He forced a laugh, trying to regain control. "Well," he said, "looks like you win the joke." "Congratulations, Miss Bennett," she replied. "Miss Bennett," he continued, standing. "I keep my word. Come by Weston Studios tomorrow. Let's see if you can really live up to that translation." And with that, he walked out, leaving Clara trembling. Scene 5, the studio test. The next morning, Clara walked into Weston Global Films. Her worn-out shoes clicked on marble floors that gleamed like mirrors. She was led into a massive conference room, where Ethan sat with 3 board members and a translator. On the table were 5 scripts, all in Mandarin. Ethan smirked. "If you want to prove yourself, Miss Bennett, translate these lines in real time. Each mistake costs you your shot." The translator beside him, a smug man named Raymond, gave Clara a pitying smile. This should be fun. But when Clara started reading, her voice was sure, steady, and surprisingly emotional. She didn't just translate words, she translated meaning. "This line isn't about revenge," she explained, "it's about redemption. You lose the heart of it when you use the wrong tone." By the 3rd script, the board members stopped looking at Ethan, they were watching her. When she finished, silence filled the room again. Then one of the executives said softly, "That was flawless." Ethan forced a smile, but his pride was cracking. "All right, Miss Bennett. You've earned the title. Welcome aboard." But Clara shook her head. "I didn't come for the title, Mr. Weston. I came because words matter. You mocked something sacred. Language connects people, and if your films don't understand that, they'll never mean anything." That silenced the room more deeply than her translation. Scene 6, the twist of fate. Weeks passed. Clara began working as a freelance language consultant for the studio. Slowly, word spread through the company. The Waitress translator had rewritten entire dialogue sections that even native speakers had misunderstood. Ethan avoided her, but he couldn't deny her brilliance. Then one day, during a meeting about a new film project, the studio received an unexpected email from a Chinese film director named Zhang Wei, one of the biggest names in international cinema. He'd seen Clara's revised translations online. He wanted her, not Ethan, to lead the cross-language adaptation of his new movie. The email ended with one chilling line in Mandarin. "Because she understood the bridge between pride and humanity." Ethan's jaw tightened. He knew that line. It was the same one he'd scribbled on that napkin, the one he'd meant as a joke. And now, it had become his downfall. Because the director had also added, "The man who mocks language mocks the soul of storytelling. We do not work with such men." Within a month, Ethan Weston's deal with Zhang Wei collapsed. The studio lost millions. And Clara Bennett? She was named Director of Cross-Cultural Projects at Weston Global Films, the very position Ethan had mocked her with. Scene 7, full circle. Months later, Clara walked into the same cafe where it had all begun. The barista smiled at her, recognizing her from the newspaper article. From waitress to film director, the woman who spoke the language of justice. She ordered a black coffee, the same as Ethan once did, and sat